Michaels. I am an industry veteran. I have 10 years experience creating and producing content myself in this space. And I've got a lot of knowledge that I can share with all of our content creators out there watching. So I guess one of the first things that I want to express is that content in our industry is absolutely king. It is the most important thing that has to do with our business. So we have to really almost treasure it and produce it in a way that it'll benefit us over and over again long term. So one of the first things that I want to kind of get into is to talk about, gone are the days of this past era when you needed these super expensive camera setups or lighting setups to make beautiful, beautiful content. I remember when I first started in the industry, I spent tons of money on getting these high-end HD cameras and these really expensive lighting sets, and it's not really as necessary for us as it once was. If you think back when, 10 years ago, you were competing with these big studios and production companies to make your quality seem or your content the same quality as some of these companies are producing. But now the industry has shifted so much that we don't really have to compete in the same way that we used to. In fact, in my experience and a lot of, experiences of other performers that I'm close with, we've all kind of talked and shared that this amateur content, this less, produced and less polished content is what's selling better right now. So kind of focusing and shifting the content you're creating closer to that realm is going to get you better rewards. So when I'm shooting personally, and something I know a lot of creators are doing currently, is that we're all shooting on an iPhone. And if you're not an iPhone, then an Android or whatever you pick your poison. But camera phones have come such a long way that you don't need these expensive camera setups, and you can accomplish a lot just with what's in your pocket and a tripod. So in terms of shooting your content, things to remember is that your camera phone has a lot of different settings that you could be playing and experimenting with to edit and stitch together beautiful, well-produced content at a fraction of what it would have cost you 10 years ago to do the same exact thing. So when I go into my phone, there's a bunch of different settings. We've got, slow motion video recording. We've got portrait photos. We've got studio lighting photos. We have all these different settings built right into the camera, factory stock, how it comes in the box, that we can use to create things that are more interesting than just a normal, camera on a tripod and film. So I think experimenting with a lot of that and mixing and matching is going to give you a product in the end that you're going to be really proud of, and that's really going to stand out amongst everyone else who's kind of not experimenting with everything that we've actually got at our hands or at our fingertips. The other thing to kind of talk about is lighting, because lighting is so important and people don't grasp the importance of it or how it can affect the mood of the content you're producing. So for example, the average content I produce, especially if it's something for premium social, which is a much more casual, amateur kind of feel, is I'll just, put up my standard ring light. It's in a tripod. It's very easy to use. It's very simple. I don't need 3-point lighting or back lighting for a content shoot like that. But if I do want to create something more moody and more that's more interesting, I guess, or more artistic, then you can throw in some cheap colored lights off Amazon and just even light yourself from one side or from both sides or from behind. It'll give you this different effect and different tone of your content that can really shape and change what you're trying to get across. So a good example of this would be if you're shooting something for Valentine's and you use some red lighting, either maybe the room is dark completely and you're only lit with red lighting, or maybe you have your ring light to light up your eyes and your face, but the rest of the room falls dark, and then you're backlit with red lighting to give you this kind of red aura from behind. That can make your content way more interesting than just your standard ring light, and it's still a fraction of the cost that it would have done or would have cost you had you been in a studio setting doing a full production. So remembering that lighting and cameras, they've come a long way, and you've got a lot at your disposal for very little expense. So take that into consideration and kind of play with things. I know something I incorporate a lot into my content is that I'll shoot all my content normal, ring light, tripod, point and shoot, and then I'll move the camera around the room to create these different interesting shots or interesting angles. Maybe I'll shoot from above, maybe I'll shoot from below, or maybe I'll change my lighting up or my setting on my camera. So I'll do a slow motion shot of myself that I can edit in then in an appropriate place once I get to the production process. So even just these little tiny tips and tricks can make your content look way more professional, way more produced, even in an amateur realm. Like you can still create an amateur piece of content that's well produced. You just have to really play with these settings that are at our disposal. So another thing that I want to touch on, because I don't see a lot of creators doing this, and I think that it would really, really benefit you guys. It's something that I've kind of just started this year, is the fact that we're all shooting for multiple places to distribute our content. You know, I'm shooting for premium social, so I need vertical video for, you know, premium Twitter and premium whatever, premium Snapchat. But a lot of creators are producing strictly for fan size, so they're only producing the 16:9 horizontal content. So in a way, you either almost have to have two phones to accomplish this at once, or you have to be creative in the way that you're doing it. So something that I've started to do is to set up your tripod in landscape format, you know, maybe 6 feet away from you or so that you can center yourself in the frame of the video. So when you're doing your content and you're filming in landscape mode, if you keep your body and most of the scene centered in the middle of that camera, you can go in later in production and edit it vertically so that now you have a vertical video of all of your content and you have the horizontal landscape video of the exact same content, but you've only shot it once from one device. So this is something really easy to accomplish that we're overlooking in the industry, and it would so much make our production quality in time easier. We would be able to produce so much more content in all the formats we need just with one time of shooting. So something to consider is to try that approach and see if it works for you. There's some complications with, you know, remembering to stay center frame so that you're not going to have to crop things out later. But for the most part, when you are editing it into vertical format, you can shift, you know, right or left the actual screen that's in the vertical edit, so you can include everything as you need it to. So doing that will save you a lot of time. It'll definitely produce double the content for, you know, no extra work. And that's kind of what we want to focus on, I think, going forward in 2021 in the way that we work, is definitely working smarter and not harder. And these are kind of the tips and tricks that'll help you accomplish that. So you can produce all of those formats that you need from one camera and one device. You don't have to run out and buy a second iPhone. If you have one, I still suggest using it, because even though I can shoot vertical and horizontal from one device, I still like to get a second angle that I can kind of edit in where it seems appropriate or where it seems interesting. So use what you have, but make the most out of it. I don't think, you know, we need to go out and buy 1,000 things to be successful in the space. In fact, I think less is kind of more at this point with everything that we're trying to juggle and do and accomplish. So before I continue, I do want to touch on all the camera modes again, because this applies to the photo set side of things too. If you're producing video, obviously that's kind of the bread and butter, but photo sets are just as important and are just as valuable of content. I produce about one photo set, you know, anywhere between 3 and 10 photos a week for my fan site. I would suggest most creators kind of do the same thing, because that gives your fans something more tangible. You know, they can use it as a wallpaper background. They can tweet it for their Woman Crush Wednesday. It's something that it's almost, once you put it out there, they get to hold on to it, versus a video, which is more, it's not something they're going to share with their friends. You know, it's not that kind of content or that kind of tangible thing the way a photo is. So producing photos is important too, and that's where you're really going to shift and use that portrait mode setting on your iPhone or on your device, or that studio lighting mode, and even like black and white and just simple edits like that can really add this tone and this moodiness to your content that'll make it stand out from the average creator. So aside from camera angles, I definitely want to get into apps. Apps are like my favorite thing ever. There's so many phone apps out there that can make your content and your workflow so much easier. I guess we can start with the basic one. The basic one everyone else is out there using is Facetune. It's appropriate to edit your content to, you know, be comfortable with the product you're putting out, no matter how polished or unpolished you want it to be. I would just definitely caution, because Facetune's so easy to get carried away with. We've all been there. To make sure that the image you're putting out is still going to reflect the one that they see in video and in live, you know, live streaming kind of settings as well. So don't overdo it. Less is definitely more with Facetune. The other one similar to Facetune that most people don't know about is Clear Video. So I'll use Clear Video. It's an app that kind of airbrushes your videos after I've produced content, after I've edited content. So you just go into the Clear Video app and then you upload your video. It will airbrush it for you, and then you can kind of adjust some color correction settings as well and save it to your phone. So that complete, finished product is all produced on your phone, and it only takes like maybe 20 minutes to actually, produce it and export it to your phone. So it's super easy and it's very, very beautiful for a finished product. It's going to set your content apart, and the color correction in it is so beautiful. It's definitely gonna be something you're never gonna want to go without after you start using it. Aside from Facetune and Clear Video, since those are more airbrushing and polishing tools, I do want to talk about InShot app, which is kind of my favorite go-to right now for video editing from a cellular device. InShot app is basically, it's where you can stitch and clip your videos, you can trim them, you can edit out what you don't like, you can edit in, those slow motion bits or those moody bits that you filmed, and then you can save it in full format, your full length video right to your device, to your phone. But it also has some cool features, like you can reverse a clip, so you can rewind it in real time, or you can flip or do the mirror image of a clip. So maybe you're wearing something in your content, but you're filming from your front facing camera, so everything appears backwards. We've all been there, right? So what we can do is we can reverse and mirror image that video so that everything looks fluid and everything looks like you filmed it from the back camera and everything looks as it should be, so that there's no questions coming up. So features like that make InShot really useful, especially in a pinch. And also in InShot, you can do the reformatting of your video, which is what I was talking about earlier. So when you film a landscape style video, and you put it into InShot, you can click on a format button that will edit it and crop it into a vertical video. And it even names the options by where you're going to post the content. So let's say you were just doing, a talking video or an educational video, something maybe lifestyle, and you're going to post it, to YouTube and then to Instagram stories. So you have to edit it landscape, you have to edit it vertically. There's a setting for Instagram stories, so you just tap that, it would crop it this way, and then you can move the frames left or right to make sure everything is captured the way you need it to be. So the same can be applied to your adult content. You have a landscape video, you click on the Instagram, story cropping, and then you can move the frames left or right, and then you can save it and use it for your premium social kind of content. So InShot's kind of a one-stop shop to do everything you need to do, and it's, again, right from your cellular device. So I'm very much kind of moving away from all of the computer editing and the laptop work, and I'm way more on my cell phone. I just think that's almost a symptom of the time you kind of live in. And if it's not something easy to do or quick to do, I can't be consistent at it. And I think that's something we can all relate to, is that if you're not consistently putting out content, you're not being an active creator in your space. So it has to be simple, it has to be quick, it has to be something I can do easily from the comfort of my daily routine. And that's why I think I've moved so much onto mobile, and I see a lot of other creators doing the same. So having InShot on your phone as your go-to to edit everything, reformat everything, make a beautiful finished product, and then you'd save it to your phone, run it through Clear Video, get that polished, beautiful, ready to publish product, and then you've got your content. So those are kind of the main tips and tricks I found myself using very consistently now that we're in this new year, in this new space, and now that we're all mostly creating for ourselves, not on a set, not with the studio behind us. So I think that just doing that is going to be such a lifesaver. And then the next thing that you have to kind of think about doing, aside from the production of the content, because we are talking about working smarter, not harder, is how you utilize your content, right? So you've produced this beautiful video, you have it in landscape format, you have it in vertical format, so you can use it for premium stories, you can use it for your fan site, but it can also be used other places. You can use it as a clip for sale. You can use it as set it out in a PPV, a pay to unlock message, and then you can also use it in your normal places, your fan sites, in your premium socials. So realizing how everything is being used, that will dictate how you distribute it all. So when I say working smarter, not harder, one of the things that applies to is how you distribute your content. And I feel like creators aren't doing this super effectively, and it's a great educational thing to talk about before we wrap this up. So when you're using your content or producing your content, there's a workflow you can take it through to make 4 times the money, if not more, off that one piece of content. So say you produce something for a premium story, say premium Twitter, for example. Now you have this video, you shot it in landscape and vertical, you have both versions, but you've published it to your premium story. So maybe 3 weeks after that, you can now reuse that content. So now you use it in the landscape format, and you post it as a pay-per-view DM, and you send a mass DM out to all of your fans. So now you've made money off of that content twice already, and there's still more room to explore. So maybe 3 weeks after you send it out as a PPV message, then you post it to your fan site as a regular, piece of content for your fans to enjoy weekly. You have to remember that not everyone that's subscribed to your premium social content is also subscribed to your fan sites. So just because you're posting multiple places in multiple formats doesn't mean everyone is seeing it twice. Also, so the same works for in your DMs. Not everyone that actively opens DMs and interacts with you in DMs is going to be on your premium social. So don't be afraid to double dip with your content, because it's a lost opportunity really if you don't. So you sent it out as premium social, you put it in a PPV message, now you post it to your fan site. This has been 3 weeks or so between each time. And then we're at the final stage where you can post it as a clip for sale. I always do clip for sales last, for the simple fact that once it's available as a clip, it's usually downloadable, and then it kind of shows up all over the internet. So once we get to that stage, you've kind of had things run its course and monetized it as many times as possible along the way. So first you did premium social, then you sent it out as a PPV DM, and then you put it in your fan site, and then you put it for sale as a clip. So that kind of workflow will move you through these phases and make you more money off of the same piece of content, which I think is really important, because when we are trying to work smarter and not harder, making sure that we're not, losing any opportunities to monetize along the way is going to be so powerful for us as creators, especially because we're in an industry where you can't work at it forever. You get your stretch and your length of time here, and then that's it. So making sure that you monetize everything to the max before kind of that time and window is closed, that's going to be really huge and really powerful for all of you. And the other thing is that I guess I do have, what I've kind of done is made a spreadsheet. So that's how I track my content going through these workflows. So like I put the name of my content, and then I put, did I post it to premium social? Yes, no. Okay, now I know that's been there. Did I post it as a PPV DM? Yes, no. And I kind of move it through that spreadsheet, marking along as I go. And if you do want to even expand on that, once you get to the end where you've posted it as a clip and you've made 4 times the money off of that content, you can then go ahead and put it to like a tube site publicly for it to be streamed, something like a Pornhub or any kind of tube site or forum site. This way now you're leveraging that piece of content in a 5th way. Maybe it's not making you tons of money because it's being streamed, but it is getting you traffic back to where it all began, on your fan site or to your premium social. So I hope that helps, guys. I feel like I talk fast and it's a lot of information. I know I'm guilty of that, but I think that everything that we've put out there today will be super valuable, especially the apps and the tools and the resources. So if there's anything, you guys always know where you can reach me. I'm MelRose Michaels on all socials, and if I can help you in any other way, please let me know. Also, there's a wealth of knowledge on centuryuniversity.com, so check that out if I missed anything. All right, guys, this was amazing. I'm so excited. Thank you guys so much.
I love how she does the little thing. That was such a great presentation, MelRose. It's so insightful, and you clearly know your game. How, again, remind me, how long have you been doing this?
About 10 years now.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
That's quite some time.
That is quite some time.
I have a question for you. What do you think about Telegram as a channel to sell your content?
Yeah, so I actually recently started using Telegram. There's been some difficulties with stuff like that. Having a Telegram broadcast channel, for example, to put out content and kind of get your fans in one place is really valuable, because then you can advertise things to them. So for example, if you were to launch a new kind of fan site or a new product or a new service, or just put out new content, that's a great way to push it directly to their cell phones where they're getting a notification, and then they can go ahead and convert into a sale for you. So it's really powerful. But I'm also seeing similar things on Telegram as what we're seeing on regular social. Like I personally had 2 Telegram broadcast channels deleted for no reason. So it's kind of that that thin line you have to walk, because it's still a social media platform. Although they say that they're more sex work friendly, it's not always the case. So you got to make sure you read terms and services. You got to make sure you play by the rules. Otherwise, you don't get to play at all.
All right. Another question that we have: which platform would you recommend
For fan sites?
Yes.
Yeah, so my platform of choice is definitely FanCentro. I love their platform. It's very, it's got every feature I need all in one place. I don't have to manage, a free page and a paid page. I can do it individually by each singular post. I just prefer their features, and also they have more resources available to creators, in my opinion. But I know a lot of people who've had success on OnlyFans. I think that's a great place to start traffic-wise too. But my original, place that I got started personally was webcamming. That's how I built my fan base, that live interaction and that instant feedback with fans. So I think if you're completely new to the industry, start with webcam, then move to a fan site once you've built kind of that fan base and you have that support behind you.
Thank you. We have another question. What do you think about Discord?
Discord. I've seen this coming up a lot. I know a lot of models that have moved to Discord. Again, I kind of see that as a safer place to play and to bring your fan base and to cultivate a fan base, because they are kind of allowing us in the space where, again, social media platforms really aren't. So I think paying attention to things like Discord and Reddit and Telegram, places that are seemingly safer for us to operate in, we've got to migrate there, because when it comes to typical social media where we derive most of our traffic, if we're not able to stay on those platforms and to build something that's sustainable, we can't keep a sustainable business or grow a business. So making sure you're paying attention to these forums and these spaces online where you're allowed to play and allowed to foster community, those are the places you need to live, and those are the places you need to spend your time, because Instagram or Twitter or whatever, that could be gone tomorrow, unfortunately. So I think it's important. I think it's important to live there and to grow followings there for sure.
Great, great, great. Thank you so much, MelRose. You're amazing. Let's do the hard thing.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me, guys.
Guys, make sure you go and reach out to MelRose. She has everything open, and yeah, go and DM her. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.